Hi, John. Thanks for watching. What I wanted to do first is just quickly do a brief overview of what it looks like on the back side of the website as far as SEO is concerned and some ranking factors. And then I can show you as we're going through your site briefly how they tie into certain areas and what needs to happen in order to increase some ranking. So I know you had mentioned wanting to get outside of the Mansfield area. So I did roofing in Sharon. The first listing that comes up is Cochrane because they are literally located in Sharon, but the second one in both the map pack and the organic listings is Olin, and I see them come up a lot. So I'm going to use them as well, so I can show you some things on their website and why they're working so well for them. So I've taken their website and as well as yours, and I plugged them both into this tool that I use, and it shows me all the information that Google finds when it crawls your site that it uses to determine the position in the search results, and then also rates its strength and trust on a scale of 1 to 100. So just real briefly, you can see the numbers that Olin has and why they are coming up so high in so many different search result criteria. But let me just quickly run through these and just show you, how we can improve some of those for you. Now, when Google is determining how to rank a website, it uses two different factors. The first is what's called the authority or trust that it has in your site. Now, this basically boils down to a popularity contest because this authority is gained when other domains or websites refer back to yours and then they create a link. And this acts as an endorsement that Google uses to build trust because others are vouching for you. So to give you a quick example, if say the local news station did an article for the uh, top 10 best home improvement companies in the area, and in that article, the reader could click on a link and it would bring them to your website, that would be considered one backlink from one referring domain. Now, you can get these types of links from a lot of different types of websites, blog posts, editorials, press releases. One very strong and important type is what's called a citation. Now, a citation is any time that your name, address, and phone number are listed in an online directory. Those include Yelp, Yellow Pages, Better Business Bureau. Most of these directories are free. It just takes some time to find them, register your business, and then input the information exactly as it's shown in Google. So you can see based on the number of other websites and how many links they've created back to Olin, why Google is putting a lot of trust and a lot of authority in this website and therefore recommending them higher in search results. But it is also something to note here is it's not just a matter of the sheer quantity of these links. It also has a lot to do with the quality. So certain websites are more spammy, certainly ones that are outside the United States. But we also want to find ones that are relative to your service industry. So anything to do with services you offer, home improvement, construction, anything like that in general. So that way they can pass along that trust through the link to your website. Now, the second factor for ranking the site is the content that's on your page. So if we take a look in here, you're being found for 143 different keywords. Now, as I look through these, what I'm looking for is what I call a buyer intent keyword, meaning somebody is saying roofing Easton, a specific service with a specific location, and that means that they're searching like this, roofing in Mansfield. So just to take this as a for instance, 200 people a month are searching for roofing in Mansfield. Right now, you're in the 44th position, which is going to put you on the 5th page. If you're on the first page, Google Analytics estimates that 10% of total search volume converts into a lead for the business. So of those 200 people searching, you're on page one, 20 of those people or up to 20 people are going to either give you a call or do a form submit contact through your website. Now, depending on what the close percentage is, and obviously the scope and profit margin of each job varies, but you can see just how the sheer volume of leads coming in can definitely add up to some revenue at the end of the month and at the end of the year. And that's just for one keyword phrase. So we want to repeat that same process for all the high volume keywords that are relative to the services that you offer and in the areas that you offer them in. Now, as I do a report here, I'm going to sort this by the position, meaning the highest position, the furthest you are on Google. And as I'm looking through this, there's really not many that are these buyer intent keywords. We got Easton Windows, you're on page 2 for that, halfway down page 2. But it's mostly for specific products and brand names that you're coming up for. So, when people are searching for these windows, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're looking to have that window installed. They might be just looking to do some research on the different types and different manufacturers of windows. So how this would tie into your website is we would want to do some research. I do a lot of market research. That's unfortunately what the majority of part of my job is to find out what are the highest volume keywords relative to the services that you offer and then the areas you want to service, and make sure that those are being included on the page. Because as I take a look at your homepage here, as a general rule of thumb, when Google comes in and looks at a homepage, it doesn't really care much about the layout. It's just a computer that's going to come in and count all the words and text on the page. I usually recommend to my clients to have a minimum of about 1,000 to 1,500 words on a homepage. That way, the more information you have on it, the more of an expert that Google feels you are, and then therefore the more likely it is to recommend you. So while it's counting all these words, though, it's also searching for all the keywords, so all your services and locations. But this is where the number of words on the page really comes into play, because you're only allowed to have one of those keywords for every 100 to 150 words of text on the page. So the more keywords, the more services or locations you want to be found for, means the more content that we would have to add to the page. And then furthermore, due to recent updates, in order to qualify as a keyword, the corresponding text or content, that 100 to 150 words, has to be directly related to and describing that specific keyword. Otherwise, Google won't qualify it. So this is where we would definitely look for on the home page. It would be generic keywords that still location specific to Massachusetts, Massachusetts roof replacement, Massachusetts decking, anything to do with just the state itself, or your hometown, whatever if you want to put it in Mansfield, this would be your first and main location page is your home page. Then on each services page, we would do the same thing for just the specific services, but where it really comes into play is the location pages. This is how to rank for different areas. So for instance, if we take a look at the Easton page and the Sharon page, this Easton page should be all about Easton. Everything should have an Easton keyword on it, so that way when people are searching in Easton or for any kind of service there, this page is coming up. But what I'm noticing especially in the Sharon page is just a complete copy of the main home page. And the Easton page is also a copy of, they just changed the wording around a little bit. This doesn't add any content to the page. Google looks, when it goes through all your web pages, if it sees any kind of duplicate content, it ignores it. It wants to see fresh, different content on each page. So really for location-specific pages, this is where we need to really tailor the content very specifically to that location. And then we can even split it up to have, say, 4 different Easton pages. It would be windows, roofing, doors, and decks. So that way each one of those individual location pages is ranking in search results for individual services. Because the way it works with Google is the more specific your page is, the more of an expert that Google feels you are in that specific keyword or that specific search. So if you have an entire page dedicated to windows in Easton versus a page that has windows, roofing, doors, and decks in Easton, it's going to see that individual page as more relative to the search results and therefore more likely to recommend that, and it'll be easier to rank that page. Now, however, this is also where those backlinks come into play, because in order for that page to gain that authority or gain that trust, regardless of the content, we need to have the links from other websites that link back to that. So this is where we would find those backlink partners, and we would create blog posts. We would have creating editorials, going to review sites, finding anything that we could write content and have it link back to specific keywords on those specific sites. And then Google notices all those other sites linking back to it for these specific keywords, realizes that if other websites are trusting you, it should as well, and it's more likely to get you higher up in the search results and be ranking in here. These are the organic listings. This is where all those backlinks and all that trust and authority comes into play. Here in the map pack, it does have something to do with proximity to the searcher. So obviously, because it's a map, you can't rank, throughout the entire state. But in order to get higher up in here, we would want to optimize your business listing and get a lot of those citations, your name, address, and phone number. We want you to appear in more directories than anybody else on this list. Make sure your business profile is completely filled out, even with some keywords. When I was looking at it, I know we talked about it, going to the town hall page, but everything looks to be appropriate here if this is what you were talking about, because this is going to your website. And it does show your service area and everything like that. So there are some things we can do. We definitely want to add some photos in here. That'll also help. We basically take photos and we geolocate them. We embed them with tagging for longitude and latitude, so that way Google can understand your search area. There's a lot of things to optimize this section. But as far as the organic section here to rank, especially in different towns, the first thing to do would be making location pages, because as you can see here, we just take a quick look at Olin. Whoever's working on or been building their website really understands. And you can see every single one of these highlights is a specific page just for that one town or city, and everything is location specific. So they all have that location modifier in there, specifically talking about those actual locations, and then they have the keywords that are being searched specifically for this area. So this is exactly the same format that we'd want to follow. Everything should be extremely specific to that one topic, whether it's one service or that one location, in order to help rank that. So I'd be happy to talk more at the next meeting. I'm sure after this you'll probably have some questions. But the first step would be doing the market research to find the right keywords that we want to go after and make sure that content is on the page. And then we can talk about how to start getting some off-page backlinking partners and doing the off-page SEO work to build the trust and the authority so we can help rank those pages. So look forward to seeing you next week and we can talk more. Thanks.